UK pensions explained simply. Everything you need to know in 10 minutes pensions. The word alone is enough to make most people's eyes glaze over. And I get it. The terminology is baffling. Defined benefit, defined contribution, SIP, annuity, drawdown, lifetime allowance, annual allowance. It sounds deliberately complicated, like something designed to be understood only by accountants and financial advisors. But here's the thing. Pensions are not actually complicated. The basics, the things you genuinely need to understand to make good decisions, can be explained clearly in about 10 minutes. That's what this video is. No jargon, no acronyms without explanation, no assumptions about what you already know. Just a clear, honest explanation of how UK pensions work, what the different types are, how much you should be saving, and what to do next. If you've been putting off understanding your pension because it felt too complicated, this is the video that removes that excuse. Let's start at the very beginning. A pension is simply a savings account with tax advantages, designed specifically for retirement. You put money in during your working life. The money grows, invested in things like stocks, bonds, and property funds. And when you retire, you draw an income from it. What makes a pension different from a regular savings account is the tax treatment. When you contribute to a pension, the government adds tax relief on top. If you are a basic rate taxpayer, for every £80 you put in, HMRC adds £20, making your total contribution £100. The government is effectively topping up your pension savings by 25% on every pound you contribute. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you can claim an additional 20% relief through self-assessment, meaning a £100 pension contribution effectively cost you just £60 out of pocket. That tax relief is one of the most valuable financial benefits available to UK adults, and yet millions of people either don't use it fully or don't understand why it matters. The trade-off is that you can't access the money until you're at least 57, rising from 55 to 57 in 2028. Pension savings are locked away until that point, which is intentional. The whole purpose is to force long-term saving that actually stays invested until retirement. There are two fundamentally different types of pension in the UK, and understanding the difference is important. Type 1. Defined benefit. Defined benefit pensions. A defined benefit pension, sometimes called a final salary pension, promises you a specific income in retirement, calculated based on your salary and the number of years you worked for that employer. For example, if your scheme provides 1/60th of your final salary for each year of service, and you worked there for 30 years on a final salary of £40,000, you'd receive 30/60ths of £40,000, which is £20,000 per year for life. The key word is promised. The employer carries the investment risk. If the pension fund doesn't perform well enough, the employer makes up the shortfall, not you. You receive the defined benefit regardless. Defined benefit pensions are increasingly rare in the private sector. Most were closed to new members years ago, but they're still common in the public sector. The NHS, teaching, civil service, local government, and armed forces all operate defined benefit schemes. If you're in one of these, it's an extremely valuable benefit. You should understand exactly what you're entitled to and protect it carefully. Type 2. Defined contribution. Defined contribution. Pensions. A defined contribution pension, which includes SIPs, most modern workplace pensions, and personal pensions, works differently. You and your employer contribute money into a pot. That pot is invested. Whatever it grows to is what you have at retirement. There's no promised income. The amount you end up with depends on how much went in, how long it was invested, and how the investments performed. You carry the investment risk. The upside is flexibility. In retirement, you can take your money as a lump sum, buy a guaranteed income through an annuity, or draw flexibly from the pot through drawdown, taking as much or as little as you need each year. Most people under 50 are in a defined contribution workplace pension. If you've never checked what kind of pension you have, now is the time. Before we go further, I want to cover the state pension because it's a significant part of most people's retirement income, and it's often overlooked in pension conversations. The new state pension in 2025-26 pays up to £221.20 per week. That's £11,502 per year. For people with 35 or more qualifying years of national insurance contributions or credits. To receive any state pension at all, you need at least 10 qualifying years. You build qualifying years by working and paying national insurance, by receiving national insurance credits, for example when claiming child benefit for a child under 12, or by paying voluntary contributions to fill gaps in your record. The state pension currently starts at age 66 and is rising to 67 between 2026 and 2028. Check your own forecast at gov.uk, search Check Your State Pension. Because not everyone is on track for the full amount, and if you have gaps in your record, you may still be able to fill them. The state pension is inflation protected through the triple lock, rising each year by whichever is highest. Inflation, average earnings, or 2.5%. For most people, it forms the foundation of retirement income, with private pension savings providing the income above it. How much should you be saving? This is the question most people really want answered, and there are two ways to approach it. The benchmark approach. The Pensions and Lifetime Savings Association publishes annual retirement living standards. In 2025-26, a minimum standard retirement, covering all basic needs with a little left over, costs £14,400 per year for a single person. The full state pension almost covers this on its own. A moderate standard, a comfortable, active retirement with a holiday abroad each year, costs £30,300 for a single person. Above the state pension, you need approximately £19,800 from your private pension each year. A comfortable standard, a genuinely affluent retirement, costs £43,100 for a single person. Above the state pension, you need approximately £31,600 from private savings. In simple terms, if the moderate standard is your target, you need a pension pot at retirement of approximately £300,000 to £400,000, depending on whether you buy an annuity or use drawdown. The contribution rate approach, a commonly used rule of thumb, is to save half your age as a percentage of your salary into a pension. So if you start at 30, save 15% of your salary. If you start at 40, save 20%. If you start at 50, save 25%. This sounds daunting, but remember, employer contributions count. Under auto-enrollment rules, your employer must contribute a minimum of 3% of your qualifying earnings, and many contribute more. The minimum total contribution under auto-enrollment is 8% of qualifying earnings. If your employer contributes 5% and you contribute 5%, a total of 10%, and you started in your 30s, you're broadly on track for a moderate retirement. If you started later or want more, you need to contribute more. The honest truth, most people aren't saving enough. But the answer isn't to panic. It's to understand the gap and take action while time is still on your side. Here are the essential rules every pension saver should know. The annual allowance. You can contribute up to £60,000 per year into pensions and receive tax relief. This is called the annual allowance. For most people, this is far more than they'll ever contribute. But if you're a high earner or considering a large one-off contribution, this is the ceiling to be aware of. Tax-free cash. When you reach 57 and start drawing from your pension, you can take up to 25% of the pot completely tax-free, up to a maximum of £268,275. The rest is taxable as income when withdrawn. The access age. You cannot access your pension before age 55 currently, rising to 57 in 2028. There are very limited exceptions for serious ill health. Auto-enrollment. If you are employed and earn above £10,000 per year, your employer is legally required to enrol you in a workplace pension and contribute a minimum of 3% of your qualifying earnings. You can opt out, but given the employer contribution you'd be walking away from, you almost never should. Carry forward. If you haven't used your full annual allowance in the past 3 tax years, you may be able to carry it forward and contribute more than £60,000 in a single year. This is useful if you receive a bonus or inheritance and want to make a large pension contribution. Here's a simple action list based on everything we've covered. Action 1. Check your state pension forecast. Go to gov.uk, search Check Your State Pension. Log in with your government gateway account. Understand what you're on track for and whether you have any gaps worth filling. Action 2. Find all your pension pots. Many people have pensions from old employers they've lost track of. the government's pension tracing service. Find pension contacts.service.gov.uk can help you track them down. The average UK worker has 11 jobs in their career. That can mean 11 pension pots in different places. Action 3. Check your contribution rate. Log into your workplace pension. Most providers have an online portal, and check how much you and your employer are contributing each year. Compare it to the target contribution rate for your age. If there's a gap, consider increasing your contribution, particularly if your employer will match increased contributions. Action 4. Understand your investment choices. Most workplace pension default funds are adequate but not optimal. If you have 10 or more years until retirement, consider whether you should be in a more growth-oriented fund. If you're within 5 years of retirement, check whether your fund is already de-risking automatically as you approach your target date. Action 5. Model your retirement income. Once you know your pot size, your state pension forecast, and your planned retirement age, model what your retirement income will actually look like. This is where Retirement Ready UK is genuinely useful. The pension pot calculator brings all of this together, shows you which PLSA standard you're on track to achieve, and lets you model the impact of different contribution levels and retirement ages on your outcome. Link in the description. That's Pensions Explained. The whole picture. Types, contributions, state pension, rules, actions. In about 12 minutes. None of this is as complicated as the industry sometimes makes it appear. The principles are straightforward, the maths is achievable, and the time you invest in understanding your pension now pays dividends for decades. The most important thing you can do, after watching this video, is take at least one action today. Not next month, not when you get round to it. Check your state pension forecast. Log into your workplace pension portal. Find an old pot you'd forgotten about. Every year, you delay acting on your pension costs. You in compounding growth you can never get back. I've linked the key gov.uk resources and the Retirement Ready UK calculator in the description. Use them. Hit like if this was useful. It helps more people find this content. Subscribe for more UK retirement and pension planning videos. I'll see you in the next one.